Wildstar. What's up, boopers? Y'all remember Wildstar? I made a few guides on it and went super hardcore when it first launched, but ended up stepping away. But the guys over at NCSoft have sponsored me to head back to the game and check out all the things that they've changed since then. So let's get right into it. Firstly, if you haven't heard, the game has gone completely free to play. Though it launched with a subscription model, it now uses a cash shop model instead. So one of the first things I checked when I came back was the cash shop. The game still has a pseudo non-mandatory subscription model called Signature, which basically grants various quality of life bonuses such as more experience, increased currency, more auction house listings, etc. None of it really jumps out as pay to win, and the rest of the cash shop is just loaded with tons of vanity items such as mounts, pets, costumes, or housing decor. There are buff potions to give boosts to XP gain, etc., but once you're max level, most of this stuff fizzles off in its usefulness, and thus can't be considered pay to win, at least in my opinion. So it's safe to say this is a cash shop done right. But speaking of housing decor, the very first thing I remembered when I opened the game again was the sweet ass house I made. So I can never convince my guildies or friends to check it out, so now I'm gonna make you guys check it out. Basically, I rolled need on every single housing decor item possible that dropped in dungeons, and I just shoved it all in my house. The housing system in Wildstar is one of the best in any MMO, and since the launch, the decor limits and other caps have been raised so you can shove even more random stuff in your house if that's your thing. The game always had a ton of customization. You could decorate your mount, put on costumes, dye your gear, dress up your house, but I'm pretty sure you guys don't play MMOs just to roleplay as a Susie homemaker. So let's jump into the more MMO stuff of Wildstar. The combat is pretty good, and since I've played Terra, I've been in love with the free aiming action style combat, which Wildstar also shares. Now in Wildstar though, it clearly displays telegraphs of attacks while free aiming, so that you know exactly where your shots are going. And this is one thing I don't think I'd mind in a game like Black Desert. While both games share the same combat style, Wildstar's clarity on where attacks are going lets you know what is hitting you, how to dodge it, with good timing, and why you miss when you miss. It comes with dodge rolls, sprints, and let's not forget Wildstar as double jump. Best feature in the game. Now another distinct difference from BDO is the healers in Wildstar, which allows for organized and instance dungeons, 5-mans and 20-man. So when Wildstar launched, it had a huge attunement chain to get into the first 20-man dungeon, and then to get into the 40-man dungeon. You had to fully clear the 20-man dungeon and then do some more stuff. Now while the exclusivity of dungeons was awesome, it made gathering a full group of attuned 40 players very difficult. With the current version of Wildstar, 40-man dungeons are pretty much gone, and with it, it's all now 20-man and smaller scale, making it much easier to get a full group. Now the difficulty and requirements of the attunement has also been scaled down, as has the complexity of the game's rune system. So while the original Wildstar launch was super hardcore, it has been toned down significantly to still be good, but not burnout inciting. There are more dungeons now to tackle on veteran mode, which you can tackle with a pre-made group or use the game's looking for group feature. One thing Wildstar also does well with its dungeons and raids is tie in the lore and story so that you know what you're killing and why you are killing it. For example, the Sword Maiden dungeon, where the leader is trying to save her people from the strain with your help by obtaining a powerful sword, but in the end the sword itself is corrupted and you have to defeat the Sword Maiden leader as she wields it. The game develops main characters and baddies very well as you level through the planet of Wildstar, trying to uncover its secrets. One of the coolest story arcs for me personally was when you travel to the moon, called Farside, and go into a dark cave with crew members there trying to investigate the stuff, and there's these little things that jump on your head and take over your mind, and as you investigate it, they start killing your crew members and taking over their minds. And yeah, the atmosphere was really spooky. It came out of nowhere. I loved it. Obviously, since I've left, they've added continuations to their story, some new zones for dailies, quest chains, and dungeons, so I've been trying to check out all of that to see how the story has progressed since I last played, but I'm gonna avoid spoilers on that stuff. Wildstar also is great at handling little things and not taking itself too seriously, from riding the taxi transportation and listening to his jokes to the level up quotes. Heck, ever since playing the game, every time I level up in another game, be it Overwatch, League of Legends, BDO, I always end up shouting one of the quotes from the level up voiceovers from Wildstar, like, "Oh look, I leveled up. Way to go, Cupcake." The last thing I gotta talk about though is Wildstar's PvP. So there was a super big problem at the launch. A lot of PvPers got turned off by the arena rating system that Wildstar launched with. The system basically heavily encouraged boosting, and high rated players got insane gear advantages over others. Now luckily guys, this entire system has been revamped. The PvP system is much better now, and they've added new battlegrounds and updated the old ones. Overall, the game has pretty much fixed all of its problems. So Wildstar is an MMO in a really good spot right now. They knocked out a lot of the issues the game had at its launch and made it free to play, but still a full-fledged MMO with a ton of content to go through. So if you dumped it early on for one of the issues I mentioned, definitely head back and check it out. Or if you are a new player looking for another MMO, you'll love the story and leveling experience, and it's a nice break from sandboxy, no healer, no tank style MMOs. You can go and enjoy a good old-fashioned 5-man dungeon with some healing, tanking, and pew-pewing. And yeah, you can check out Wildstar by clicking the link in the description. And thanks again to NCSoft for sponsoring me and encouraging me to go back and check out the game again. Even the login music is nostalgic for me. It's like do 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 do. I'm booping out. Boop.